Hello? I wish I was a little bit taller. I wish I was a baller. I wish I had a girl who looked good. I would call.
G'day, ballers, and welcome to the Baller NRL SuperCoach podcast. My name's Jono, coach of Hungry for More, and we have arrived at what is the biggest and most important trade week of the year. And I'm joined tonight by a couple of SuperCoach experts who, just like D-Generation X in the 90s, are ready to break it down. First up, the head honcho, self-proclaimed head honcho of the Baller podcasting arm. He is also a four-time in a row top 500 finisher, including number 23 last year. He's the coach of the Terrace crew. Matt Ricks, how are you, Matty?
Hello, mate. Good. Very happy to be back. Had a few weeks off the pod, but I'm ready to go tonight. It's been a great start to the year. The rugby league has been interesting, to say the least. I think Titans, a point in the first half there, Titans and Dolphins on the weekend was a real low point for rugby league generally. So that was disappointing, but I'm sure we can bounce back in the coming weeks.
Matt, give the people an update. How's the team sitting after two rounds?
Yeah, mate, I had a really strong start. So I think I was ranked 3,400 after round one and ranked 1,009 now, so just outside the top 1,000. So this is probably as high as I've ever been at this point, so I'm stoked. Just got a team set up really well. I'm so happy with how I've started with the structure. So that's worked well. And I haven't missed any of the big boppers. So probably the only one I don't own is Helam Lukey, who I'm probably bringing this week, and then obviously pick up a couple of cheapies as well. But it's just so rare that that it works out the way you expect to start for the first couple of rounds, and having, I just can't remember a season ever where every cheapie has worked out like this season. It's just incredible.
Oh, it's absolutely incredible. And we're gonna deep dive into the best ones tonight. But our other man, I guess, he's the HBK to Matt's Triple H. He is a former third place overall finisher. In my opinion, he's one of the best strategic minds in all of NRL SuperCoach. He's the coach of the Casa Bonitas. It's Danny Boy. How are you, mate?
I'm good, mate. I thought you would have gone for an X-Pack maybe over HBK. I don't think I
That's
got
huge.
the hip.
I can't believe we're talking about DX. This is great. This is like all millennials out there will know exactly what we're talking about. But yeah. Anything to bring up DX, the Road Dog Jesse James, the badass Billy Gunn.
Danny Boy, how are you travelling this year, mate?
I'm set up all right as well. Coming in 5K. Decent start to the season. I was up at 4 a.m. watching KP do his hamstring on Sunday morning, which is a little disappointing. But other than that, looking good. Got a lot of the cheapies, bringing a lot. Got enough that I can only bring in a couple this week and be really set up. Cash in the bank. Big decisions around what to do with my flex position, as Matty alluded to. Like, team balance is everything for me. So I'm trying to think, 2 rounds, 3 rounds ahead, and just try to keep that team balance. And probably, like a lot of coaches this week, have 700K sitting there wanting to do something with it. So do I pull the trigger now, or do I wait and solidify later on?
Yeah, that's been a really popular question in the Ballers Only Discord as well. A lot of people not feeling comfortable having 700 to 900K just sitting there and trying to think, what do I do with it now? So we'll talk about whether, there is some good options now, whether the best move is to be patient. Dan, question for you, mate. You, as I mentioned in your intro, are a third place former overall finisher. If you can think back this far, because it was a while ago, but where were you sitting after those first couple of rounds? Were you like someone who was lower and had to crawl back up, or were you sitting all right early? I
don't think I was sitting that high. Maybe somewhere between 5 and 10,000, and then probably only for the first couple of rounds fluctuating around there, and then probably rounds 3 to 8, it was just green arrows every week. So you're just building, and then have one big blowout week and you hit the top spot. So look, I think the first 2 rounds we can take a lot out of it in terms of team structures, in terms of roles for players. I am a little bit torn because there's blokes like Isaiah Yeo, Angus Crichton, we'll talk tonight, who haven't performed the first 2 rounds, but I won't be surprised if they start averaging 60, 70 plus in the next few rounds. So hard ones to trade out.
Yeah, there's definitely some tricky calls. But before we get into all that, Matt, you're wearing your Gerham Shibasaki Young GI shirt. It's a sad day for the baller community, isn't it, Matt?
Mate, pour one out for Young GI. Look, I don't want to pump his tyres, but does anyone know more about a single person or rugby league player ever than Tubes knows about Young GI? First, he coined him Young GI when no one had ever heard of him as a 27-year-old emerging NRL player last year. Now he's foreseen on the Sunday Snap that he will be out of the team this week, and that's actually happened. Madge has sent enough. I can't believe they put Dean Marrett at centre. Dean Marrett is one of the worst offenders I've ever seen at centre. So that'll be interesting. I would have backed our man to come good personally, but he has been dreadful. So yeah, hopefully we see him back in the next, back in the starting lineup in the next week or two.
Let's hope so. All right, the Baller 10K League, if you're not in there, what are you doing? Get in there. There are $10,000 worth of prizes up for grabs. It is the biggest prize for any free-to-join league. First place gets $7,500, second gets $1,000, third through fifth, $500 each. You just got to jump over to baller.live, take the 20 seconds or whatever it takes, maybe less, to sign up, and then go down to the prize league section and click join, and you will be in our league ready to go. Bit of an update. The Darren, coach of Bigger Boat, who is our current leader. So he's going very, very well. But it's second, third, and fourth that I have to draw some attention to. So second place is Baller Boffin. Behind the scenes Boffin. Matt, not Matt Ricks. This is a different Matt who works behind the scenes at Baller. He's sitting second in that league. The Podfather, Dan, Matt, your dad, is coming in third place. And in fourth place is our very own Baller contributor, C-Mac. So really hot start for a couple of Ballers, best and brightest there, isn't there, Dan?
Yeah, unbelievable start. Podfather is ridiculously well set up. He's bringing in some pods this week as well. Like, I think first thing Tube said. First thing Tube said to him was like, "Oh, I'd love to bring in who you're bringing in, Dad, but you've got some other fires to sort out." So, yeah, he's doing amazing. C-Mac, he's known for his hot start. He's such a footy head. He goes hard. He goes some nuffs early, gets all the big boys, and he's doing really well. So, yeah, and Matt Turk, second place. I think he's a bit of a newbie, isn't he, Matt, Supercoach?
Yeah, he's probably played for 4 or 5 years, but yeah, that's three. That's second, third, and fourth in our league, and that's 3 in the top 50 overall who are ballers or baller adjacent. So it's baller adjacent. Is it? It's a new term. But yeah, I just think it's testament to the great work. And they're all in all the baller WhatsApps and Discords and everything that we run. So.
And listen to the pod.
And Jono, you've had a hot start too. You're on the top 1,000. I'm just outside. Dan's 5,000. Tubes is getting there. But, it's been a hot start. There's plenty of ballers in the Discord as well who are up there. So I think the info has been good to start the year. And if you're listening to Baller, then you should be amongst it.
Beauty. All right, let's get into our Baller Blueprint topic for this week. And like we mentioned, a hugely important trade week. And what a lot of super coaches are wrestling with at the moment is trying to find the balance between generating cash and getting the best cheapies, but also scoring points. And it brings back what Dan's point was earlier about these people who have so much money in the bank and are just not quite sure what to do. Do I downgrade or do I get some guys who are going to get points now? Matt, I'm interested in your opinion first. How important is it to catch them all? Or do you feel it's okay to miss some of the best cheapies to get some high-scoring guys who might even lose value? What are your thoughts?
Yeah, you don't have to get them all. There's definitely not. There are some ones who I think are probably non-negotiables. And I'm going to put Lasardi into that category this week, are the ones who are not. If people don't own. He's actually one who I don't own, and I started, I think, for the right reasons without him, and it's worked out fine. But I'm prioritising bringing him in this week. I just, from everything, from both a data perspective and an eye test perspective, he just ticks all the boxes. He's a beast. He's third on the base plus power averages for 2RFs to start the season. Sean Bloor is just not really there. So I'm prioritizing him. I don't think you do need them all. So guys like Moses Leo, Ryan Couchman, all the other center wingers. Look, don't get me wrong. If you want to bring them in and it suits your team, you should get them and try to make money. I do think though there is opportunity to make moves, especially this year. I think there's going to be players going to go on runs, and you need to make moves to get them before the runs happen, not react once once you play. You've been thinking about score to 120 or 130, and then get them the following week. That's not the way to climb the ranks.
Dan, what are your thoughts on it?
Yeah, I agree with pretty much everything Matt said. I like to look at it as you can definitely have too much cheapies in your team, so you can really dampen down the quality of your side. The different thing about this year is you've got some of these cheapies who are basically looking likely to match some of the premiums. So Matt alluded to Lasati, Noah Martin, these sort of guys who you can just plug and play straight into your 18, and they're matching some of these 500, 600, 650K guys. So it's a really good year to kind of just go hard on the cheapies, play some of those guys. And look, it's given everyone cash in the bank. So I think that cash in the bank is going to be great to just look to go on runs, right? So you can get these guys. You're looking at, say, Reece Walsh round 4, Tommy Turbo round 4. Some of these guys who aren't in your side, you might give up someone like a Keanu Kinney who isn't quite doing what you want him to do. But the cheapies that are going well give you that advantage to have that extra cash and just go hard on those runs. So yeah, look, you can definitely get too much. If you've really bottled all the cheapies, I'd still say get as many as you can this week, at least 2, if not 3. But if you have done well on the cheapie front, play around with it a little bit.
So, Dan, my last follow-up question for you then is, let's say people are getting 2 of them right, and it's the guys you mentioned, like say it's Lasati and Noah Martin. They didn't own them, they downgrade to those guys, and they have all that cash then sitting there, $900,000 potentially. Would you recommend that they use a boost to still try and get some points, or do you think it's okay to sit with that cash for a week as long as you have a plan to use it moving forward?
I think it's the right thing to use a boost this week, regardless. Like, you don't need boost at back end. I think possibly last year or the year before, I ended up holding a boost all the way through, just with trades running low. It depends on what happens around Origin, but certainly this week and possibly next week, really just solidify your team and use that extra boost. I think that's the way to go.
Matt, any last thoughts on the Baller Blueprint topic?
No, I agree with Dan. I'll almost certainly be using a boost this week. It's the tricky bit for me is just finding the blokes to trade out. So that's really the only reason why I wouldn't use a boost this week, because I don't have 3 people to trade. Cooper Byers right on the bubble for me to trade out, so he would be my 3rd trade out. Yeah, like I said, I'm very happy with how my team's set up. I think you want to be bringing in guys cheap, like Dan said. The cheaper guys are just so good and can match some of these other guys. I'm bringing in guys who I'm gonna want to make cash off relatively quick, or guys who I want to hold. So Helam Lukey, like we'll get to later, he's firmly in that boat. I'm really prioritising upgrades though next week. So round 4, there's a big fixture swing for Brisbane and Penrith also, as well as there's a couple other teams who sort of there. But I'm really eyeing off Walsh and Cleary next week. So that's where I'm hopefully going to be spending some of my bank cash this week.
Beauty. Well, hopefully that helps the people who are wrestling with those tough choices this week. And let's get down, fellas, into our positional analysis like we like to do on the Baller Tuesday show. We're going to start off with hooker. I'm just going to give a quick mention to people who are waiting for Brandon Smith. He was a chance to return round 3. He was not named. Our good friend Brian, the NRL physio, did speculate right from the outset that with the Rabbitohs having a round 4 bye, they might hold him that extra couple of weeks and make sure he's right. And it looks like that's what's happened. Reed Marnie is an interesting one. And I'm just going to assume here, you guys can let me know if you disagree. My thought process is if this Reed Marnie is your number 1 hooker, you need to make a move to a better one this week. But if he's your number 2 hooker with a break-even of 39, you can just sit for a week because there's no real downgrade options that I like. Dan, any pushback on that thought?
No, I think that's exactly right. I would be looking to get up to Harry straight away as much as I could. Brayley's looking good, but if you've got the decision between those two, it's Harry all day. Reed Martin, you just don't really need to be making moves at that hooker position. It's annoying that you've probably got a little bit extra cash with Reed there when you could go down to someone a little bit cheaper. But you've kind of made your bed with that. He's not going to move. He's not going to change price. Probably in the next 2 or 3 rounds, I'd look to move him on. Still a chance he gets back to 80 minutes too. So it's not you can't run him at hooker 1. Just too much downside, but there's still good outcomes if he's your hooker 2 over the next couple of weeks.
I just want to use the player comparison tool over at baller.live just to look at those 2 premium options, Harry Grant and Blake Brayley. Great tool. If you haven't used it yet, you get on there, you put into the 2 players you want to compare, and you can break down their different stats, their base plus power, their attack, and how their points have gone over a period of time. Matt, with those 2, on the surface of it, Blake Brayley has been having significantly more runs per game than Harry. I think maybe, so when I say significant for a hooker, he's maybe got 4 runs extra a game. his base plus power is 60 points versus Harry's base plus power of 53. Why is it then so clear, Matt, that Harry Grant's the right one, like Dan said?
I don't think it is super clear. I think Blake can match Harry. I think Harry's more likely to. I'm very happy to own Harry. I don't think there's any problem running both at some point. You might end up wanting to do that. I would have thought they're very clearly the two best hooker options. Brayley and Grant have had very different games on the weekend, particularly. They had a stouch against Penrith. Brayley's making a ton of tackles. He's making a few runs, which is good to see for his role long term. Like, this is what we saw last year when he went on that big run and he got all that attack. I'm really, really positive on Brayley's outlook moving forward. Grant's had two party games effectively where they've racked up 52 points and 44 points in both games. He's had try in each game, 2 tries. He's had 3 tries in 2 games. So it's not going to be like that every week for Harry, but I am really happy with Harry's role in the team now that Paps is gone. There's very clear sort of Munster, Hughes, Grant triumvirate there, and then Sua's just off the back of all that, and it's looking pretty nice.
I get why you're saying it's not that clear, but I mean, from a role and performance perspective, Harry's got a break even of -11, and Blake Brayley's
So you
64.
mean as a purchase this week?
Yes.
Yeah. Well,
it's clearly Harry, right?
If you're going from Reed, then yes, I would say he's also cheaper and going up more in value.
Yeah.
But yeah, I don't think that's the worst move to make, to go to Brayley instead. I don't know that definitely ends up worse for you.
Okay, fair enough. Well, let's last one from Hooker, just Benny Ayelu. Worth noting that Reece Robson has returned, so he's going to be a good one to watch over the next couple of weeks. See what his role is with Connor Watson in the team, but that means Benny Ayelu drops down to number 19. So maybe a good thing he's not going to be an A problem, and those owners can look to get to cheese in
Benny,
a couple of weeks'
go to
time.
Johnny.
Hey, not bad. Don't mind that. Didn't think of it. That's good. We'll see if they clip it up for socials. It's good if the boys clip it up for socials.
Oh, you've just ruined it by mentioning that. But yeah, that's all right.
All right, front row forward. Not heaps to discuss here. I'm really keen to unpack second row forward soon. But with front row forward, Payne Haas, he has a break even of 97, a baller projection in the kind of high 70s, low 80s areas. Dan, what do you make of him only getting 58 minutes in round 2? Because round 1, he also came off at the 21-minute mark, but then immediately went back on the field due to a HIA. Is there a minutes concern with Payne this year? And is that in your mind when it comes to the VC and the C?
Yeah, it's definitely changed my view of looking at straight C for Payne Haas. So this time of year, I've usually got some nuffs that you can VC loop, but I don't have any currently. So I want to see Matt's raised his hand.
That's just because I want to talk about Payne Haas.
Oh, all right. Well, yeah, look, certainly not as much of a captain option, but why would you be trading him if you got him? Maybe not bringing him straight in because he's going to maybe potentially lose a bit of cash, but he can hit his break even every week if it's under 100. So if you've got him, I'm just very happy leaving him there for the meantime.
Matt, you very politely clicked the raise your hand button on our recording
just straight
studio.
away. I hadn't even said anything. He's just right.
No, I think Matt feels like I threw to the wrong contributor just then.
No, not at all. Not at all. I just had something to say, and I just wanted to show my enthusiasm. Look, we know that this can happen to Haas every now and again, but if he's going to be running off the edge off Carrigan and whatnot, I don't know. You're not selling Payne Haas. I just wanted to say on his minutes that Willison played huge minutes this week. It was mentioned on the snap but he's named in the back row now this week. So I would suggest he will get good minutes in the back row, and that just thins out their middle rotation a bit. So huge game. They're 0-2. I wouldn't be surprised to see a big 65 to 70 minute game from Payne this week.
The other forward, the second most popular in front row forward, I believe, is Trey Mooney, who's got a big break even, -19. He's just so Supercoach friendly. I really enjoy watching Trey play footy. He's averaging 4 offloads a game, so he's just another one. I don't think I'd ever have him in the sit conversation as long as he's getting that 50-minute role. So well done, Trey. Want to hear your opinion, fellas, from the Sharkies second row forward, front row forward, Jesse Colquhoun, or as Tubes likes to call him, Jesse Colquhoun. Just a good uptick in his performance on the weekend against Penrith. Minutes were up. His runs were massively up, which is the main reason we saw a big difference in his Supercoach scoring last round. Dan, as a Sharks fan, do you see that as being just a kind of a gritty game against Penrith, or could we maybe look forward to more upside from him moving forward?
No, I think you're going to see those games from time to time. It's hard because Sharkies have such depth in the front row, and they've got a lot of forwards coming off as well. I think there'll be a bit of minutes managed throughout the year. Possibly AFB might get an uptick soon as he builds some fitness into the year. Tommy Hazelton obviously starting now, getting some good minutes. But I think if you've got him, great. He's going to make a little bit of cash. You could probably play him at a pinch in your 17 and 18. But I think he's still going to average around that 50, 55, make cash for the next 8 rounds, and then you could probably move him up.
Yeah, nice. All right, the last couple, just quickly to talk about Tom Flegler. Just good news for his owners because he had a rib injury last week.
You're selling him anyway. Just sell Flegler.
Not even allowed to finish Not even allowed to finish the question.
That's the only outcome. If you own Tom Flegler, sell him. You can't. The rib injury, just no way.
Am I getting power played here, Dan? What's going
a little
on?
bit. He's not even raising his hand now. He's just jumping over.
No. Well, I felt so bad that my input on Payne Haas was actually so underwhelming for a hand raise that that's fired me right up now.
No, I was going to ask the question of is he a trader, but you've got us there, so you would definitely downgrade him
100%
to one of those cheaper guys. What if you have all the cheaper guys, Matt? Would you go sideways to Jesse Colquhoun, or would you just be patient in that situation?
No one's got all of them, Jono. Impossible. You've got someone to go to. I would be going. I wouldn't be buying Colquhoun. No, I don't think. Colquhoun's got. I'd be happy with a whole. I was just looking there on Baller Live. That Colquhoun had 65 in pure base on the weekend, so he is going to be a pure base guy. That's where he's going to score all his points. But yeah, no, I would be looking where I don't have cheapies and moving that around to get rid of Flegler. He's 38. I doubt he'll hit that this week.
All right, well, Jermaine Hopgood is the last one. Obviously, he's back into that Eels team. It did cause a big shift. Tubes and I talked about Kelvin Chiolungi's performance on the Sunday Snap and said, will he win himself a spot? He has, but the big shuffle that's caused his prize recruit, Jack DeBellum, dropped to the extended bench, not in the team. So that's hopefully really good for Hopgood. I was worried originally when I heard that DeBellum had gone to the bench. I thought it meant between 14 and 17, but I think him dropping to the extended means Hopgood's minutes are going to stay strong. And, Matt, I was looking at Hopgood on baller.live with the projections on the player stats table. He's projected for a big 69 points this week. What is it about the baller model that's loving him so much?
I just think it's his minute. He just needs the minutes. We saw at the back end of last year, we saw once he got fit, he looked really good in game 1 when he was on the field, when he wasn't in the bin. I just think he's a just PPM monster, and if he's long as that's projected off 60 minutes, so that's probably the upper echelon. That's worth saying of his minutes. I don't think he's going to play more than 60, so just be wary of that. But yeah, I expect Hopgood to go well. It'd be great. I'd really appreciate if Hopgood could go well, so that then I don't have to trade him out anytime soon, like these other spud tackle bot 2RFs.
Great segue. Well done. Let's jump straight into these 2RFs because the first thing I want to talk about is these guys who people are looking to sell this week, or at least questioning whether or not they should. And Dan and Matt, I want to hear your expert analysis on which of these guys that I'm going to intro them. Matt, if I can get through my intro on these players, that'd be great. Then I will throw to you.
I'll
you
make that decision on the fly, John.
So the 4 I want to talk about who people are looking at selling is Isaiah Yeo. The reason being that he hasn't been playing 80 this year, and he confirmed himself in the post-game that it's not the plan this year for him to play 80. We got Toby Couchman, who had only 42 minutes in round 2 after playing 66 in round 1. Bit of a leg injury, limping around, but he was able to come back on the field with the Damien Cook HIA. Then we got Angus Crichton, who just isn't quite at his best from an eye test perspective. He's still got a base plus power of 50 points a game. He was taken off after 77 minutes on the weekend, and no injury concern, just looks like he was gassed and they wanted to ice that game against the Rabbitohs. And then finally, Big Tino Fa'alogo, who is 8% traded out, one of the most traded out players of the round so far. Base plus power of 45.5, sub 50 minutes in both games. And that includes last week when they actually activated a hooker to cover an injured Sam Verrills. So they're the 4 that a lot of super coaches are making decisions on. Matt, of those 4, who are the ones that you think are definite sells and who are the ones that you would consider holding, if any?
I think they're all... I think Couchman is the one I would hold for another look at. If I owned all 4 and I had to only sell 3, I think Couchy is the one I would hold. I think the other three are all clear sells. Isaiah Yeo, it's funny. He's actually been like his output while he's on the field has been really good. If we were getting that 80 minutes, he'd be amazing. He'd hold on. But yeah, Cleary said it pre-game and then he said it post-game that the plan is to not play the 80. It looks like a 60-minute role, and that's just he's just not a value pick anymore. And with the position being so competitive, I think he's an easy move on. He'll be leaving my team this week. Tino is just, who knows what's going on there. The minutes just aren't there. And he's got a massive break even, so he's going to leak cash. I think you're holding on a wing and a prayer that he comes good. And then, like you said it all about Crichton, like he just not passing the eye test. The output's not there. We saw a lot of this from him last year as well, and I think we were all expecting this to be a bit of a bounce back. But yeah, look, I think the other two are sells before Angus, personally. But I would have no problems moving on Crichton if I was an owner this week. So that's how I'm viewing it. Couchy, yeah, I think only 42 minutes. That doesn't seem right. So I'd be expecting those minutes to go back up, and I wouldn't be surprised to see him back up in that, averaging in the 60s.
All right, Danny boy, give us your take on the same four players.
Yeah, Matt covered it pretty well. I don't think Angus Crichton is necessarily a sell. I think he could still come back. We know he has power stats in him, and he gets over the line. The issue at the moment, I think, is Sammy Walker, Cherry Evans working out what they're doing in the attack. And Cherry Evans is taking a lot to that right side in the opposition's 20. So, look, I think he's still got it in him. I think he'll still base plus power 40 to 50, but just the issue is there's so many of these cheap guys in second row forward at the moment who are going to likely match him in the next few rounds. So you can just free up so much cash to go premium in the other positions. Isaiah Yeo,
the reason you bought Crichton, Dan, just to interrupt, the reason you bought him is because you wanted a 60 base plus power with attacking upside, not a 40 to 50.
Sure, you wanted that. You wanted a lot from Angus Crichton, and maybe you're not getting it, but I think there's still a potential playing 80 minutes on the left edge to get that going forward. Yep. So, yeah, Isaiah Yeo is a must sell. He just doesn't have the power in the attack. He needs all the minutes he can get. And the other two, who are we talking about again?
Tino,
got to sell. He's the first one to sell. I didn't like it for Toby Couchman. I think he's probably got a bit of a niggling injury. So if he goes, I'd probably hold, see what his minutes are like this week, see how he performs. But probably an easy move on if it's not looking good as well next week.
Well, let's now look at the best of the options. If you're going to sell these guys, who are you going to sell to? So let's say you are selling two of these guys, which I think a lot of people will be in their teams this week. The best cheap option downgrades are as follows. We've got Noah Martin, who is averaging a base plus power of 66, I saw over at Baller.live. Incredible, playing 80 minutes. Really good news for him with the team list. Good news for Noah Martin, good news for the podfather. Simi Sasungi has retained his starting centre spot, and Matt Timoko, not even in the 17, he's wearing jersey 19 this week. So good signs there for Noah Martin. We got Adavalu Lasardi, who Matt spoke about well at the top of the pod. Incredible base plus power. Sean Blaw is still sniffing around, but when the form looks so good, they're going to have to find minutes for Lasardi somewhere. We've got Joe Chan, the fix-it man, who's the right edge back rower at the Storm, base plus power of 52.5. We've got Arama Ho, who has been concerning with his defence, but looking promising in attack. And then we got Rauchi, Ryan Couchman, brother of Toby, who is the most traded in of the lot so far this week. Base plus power of 72.5 across his games. But I would say that the warning is the minutes probably a little bit inflated so far. Dan, of those cheap guys, if you had one or two priorities, who do you think it would be?
Lasardi is the number one priority, I think. It's 72.5 base plus power over the first two rounds. Looking good. Already got over for a try as well. They tend to be looking for him on that left edge as well a little bit, so he's getting a lot of attacking opportunities. In saying that, there's a little bit of doubt with Sean Blaw lurking around, still injured a little bit, but could be back in the next couple of weeks. Him and Noah Martin are my top two. Like, Noah Martin looks unbelievable. Great base. Couple of tries already. Going to make bulk cash. But to be honest, all of them are good options. I think the only one you said out of that I would have a little bit of hesitation would be Joe Chan. Just because he's got the history when he does get the minutes to not have that great base plus power. But everyone else, my views on Ryan Couchman, I absolutely love him. Tubes is propping him as a smoky for Origin this year, so could be this year's young GI. Who knows?
He's plumping up for some merch. He wants a bit of Couchman merch.
Yep.
Rouchy merch, I should say.
I think the people would love some Rouchy merch.
Yeah,
I'm very keen.
I mean, it's going to be hard to top this, but yes, I'll look into it.
Get the boffins onto it. Matt, the only one that Dan really didn't break down for us there, and I think, Dan, that was a really good summary, was Aramaho. I'm interested to hear your thoughts on sorry, I keep saying it wrong. Aramaho. Interested to hear your thoughts, Matt. Could people jump on board the Ho train?
Sure, they could. I wouldn't be necessarily. He's one who I wouldn't be rushing to buy, even though like
it's 235k. Right?
Yeah, he's gone. It's more just it's more just like back to the question at the top of the pod. Do you need all these guys? And he's got his duel, which is excellent for him. Even though there's a lot of duels this year up at front row 2RF. He's gone in both games like 50, 51, then 53 in base power, which is excellent. He looks good on the left there. I'm a little bit worried about his spot in the team if they keep losing. You can't really miss 7 tackles, especially in a game like that, low scoring. Paxton has been killing it in Cup last week or 2 weeks. He's in the 22. He's back in the squad this week in the 22. I just think medium-term job security issues, he is going to make some fast cash though, so I would have no hesitation if I sort of had no other ones that I was focusing on. Hopefully most of the balls own him already. But yeah, I'm just saying he's not extremely essential. There are circumstances where you're going to have to be moving him out in a week or two.
The last cheap guy I want to discuss is actually not to discuss as bringing in for a buy. I want to hear what you guys think of him as a potential sell. Dan, I think you sold Cooper Buy last week, or is it this week you're looking at moving Cooper Buy on?
Yeah, I mean, at the moment he's staying in my team. That try actually makes it really awkward. If he doesn't get that try, he's just a straight sell straight away. Like we knew he was going to be a slow burn. I honestly he was my last player picked in my whole squad. And I would have definitely had Rouchy if they weren't in Vegas and I had the opportunity with a bit of flexibility on the week after. But I was tossing up between him and Enough. But now he's going to make a little bit of cash. It just makes it tricky for owners what to do with him because he's still going to be a slow burn. Even though with the try on the weekend, he only got 25 minutes, I think. We saw him come on a bit earlier, which gave us hope, but he came off again pretty early after that. So, yeah, look, I could say either way. If you've got all this cash sitting in the bank and you want a premium second row forward to sub in for him, absolutely go for it.
Matt, I know you're in the exact same boat as Dan. I think Dan sounds like he's going to hold. You're a little bit closer to selling Cooper Buy with that -5 break even.
Yeah, I'm reluctant, and I sort of advocated all preseason that he's a great slow burning cheapie, but there just are too many fast burning cheapies here to take advantage of. If I'm to trade him out, it will be to Heilum Lukey. So. He's kind of in this more premium range that, I'm going to have so much cash that I feel like that's just a better, like he can really buff out my 17, 18 a bit better.
I wanted to say with that, do you need Heilum Lukey playing this week? Because if you're just doing it for a depth, if you've got someone who could match similar to Lukey, I'm not sure if you really want to make that trade. That's an extra 200k you've got to pay up, and potential Lukey might make the same amount of cash as Buy, but it's kind of burn a trade and maybe you don't need that depth as well. So that's what I'd look over your squad in general. Look at your 17, 18 players that you're playing, and is the guy you're bringing in actually going to be much better? Or, you're probably looking at 15, 20 points, expected better to bring him in.
Yeah, they're playing the Titans too, which is obviously pretty mouthwatering for Lukey. There's a little bit of and this never works out well, but there's a little bit of defense with Lukey as well. I feel like he's a great pick at 400k. So I'm not going to lose any money, I don't think, going by. It's really just the trade, and then I'm sort of getting a player who's highly owned with a good matchup, and so he's not going to hurt me this week. It's obviously not the way to play SuperCoach, and that's not really in my mind for that, but it is a bonus.
All right, I want to get down now to the premiums. We spoke at the top of the pod in the Baller Blueprint about getting the right cash versus getting premiums. And I'm in the position this week, fellas, where I am bringing in a premium second row forward, and I would love to hear your opinions on who are the best. I've got 5 that I'm narrowing it down to, and this has also been a popular discussion point in our Ballers Only Discord as well. And Matt, you very helpfully put in there the 5-round projections of these second row forwards and some others. So if people want to get in there and check it out, it's great. It's in the Baller projections section. But the 5 I'm eyeing off, gents: Hudson Young, Dylan Lucas, Jacob Preston, Viliami Kikau, and massive pod Jaden Sua. Dan, what are your initial thoughts on those guys, and who would be the best one to bring in your Supercoach team coming into round 3?
It's tough because there's pros and cons for all of them. We've only seen one game for the Bulldogs, but we saw both second rowers go well. Preston got a try. Kickout didn't get a major attacking stat and went 94, which is ridiculous. But we know historically with Kickout, he's not going to match that base plus power consistently, but he is on the potent left edge for the Bulldogs. So we know he's going to get attack as well. I think the flyer in that is Viliami Kickout. I think, if you want to go for a big pod, I would go him. A lot of people will look for the solid base of Preston, the solid base of the Knights back rower as well.
Dylan Lucas.
What's his name? Dylan Lucas. Both of those are fine pickups, and they will really solidify. And we know the attacking upside of Hudson Young. So again, just looking at which one you like, which one you think is looking good on the stats pages, and then go and have a look at the run for the next 3 or 4, and make your choice. You could go either way, anyway, really, in that scenario.
Can I put you on the spot and say, if you personally were bringing in one this week, which one do you think you'd bring in?
I did originally like the look of Kickout for the pod. And then Dylan Lucas, I do like that Fletcher Sharp is back for him. I think they're going to be dominant on that left edge. He's got such great base and power. He just needs to get over the line to ton up. So probably if you're going to bring a premium in there, it'd be Dylan Lucas.
Matt, what are your thoughts? And I also want to hear, Matt, you speak about Jaden Sewell, because you've been a fan of his not just this year, but for a couple of years now. He's always kind of flirted with your Supercoach team.
Yeah, I think Sua is a great pod pick. The thing with Sua is there's just something always goes wrong. It just never fully works out with Sua. So I wouldn't personally, I find him a little bit too risky for me. He's a bit of a sook. Like, no offense, like not trying to be up him, but he kind of gets injured a bit. He's so, and it sounds ridiculous. He's so tough. His base power output is ridiculous. 74.5. I think he had like 79 or 80 in base power on the weekend. So yeah, it's a flyer. Like, I just think you got to be a bit prepared to get something to go wrong. So yeah, for that reason, I wouldn't be going Sua. But he's also, the price is right, $619K. The baller projection model doesn't love him just based off last year, and just can't quite get around him. I am pretty hot on Jacob Preston here. I think he's the clear value pick at 2RF. If I wasn't going Preston, I would be going Huddy Young. Huddy's just a little bit kick happy. I was talking in the WhatsApp group, like, I don't know what kind of license he's got off Ricky, but he must have kicked it 5 times in the first 2 games. I'm looking for Hudson to get his head down and try and get over the line, not to get a forced dropout. Even though I'm sure owners were very appreciative of those couple of forced dropouts he's got. Yeah, I'm Preston pretty clearly. I can't get around Lucas at the moment just with these Knights players out. He's going to do a great job for you, don't get me wrong. I just think his upside's capped. Dogs had the buy out of the way, and I'm always like, kick out is just a bit too streaky for my liking this time of year. I think he's more your origin period pick. So yeah, I'm plumping up hard for Preston.
All right, so interesting. Well, the one that I'm looking, who's currently in my team, is Hudson Young. My thought process behind it, he's the most expensive of the bunch. He's at $754K. I'm really impressed by his base plus power output this year. Matt, I know you're speaking about those roles of the kicks. I love that Hudson feels comfortable enough that it's just like, yeah, all right, you're a man. Just go out there and do whatever you want. And I think he's really been in and around a lot of attack without getting any attacking stats so far this season. A few tough games coming up. They got the Dogs, the Sharks, and the Storm across their next 5 weeks. But sometimes Hudson lifts more in those games. He's one of those kind of players who can fire up for those performances. So at the moment, Hudson Young is my man. We'll see if that sticks when it comes to my Supercoach team on Thursday night.
I think that's great, John. I really he was the top average in 2RF last year. I just feel like that's the safety of a Hudson Young. Like, it just seems hard for that to go wrong for Young.
To go Young. I think.
No, I love it. I love the pick, Jono.
Yeah, Jono, just on that, he is definitely like the alpha go-to attacker as well. And that, I think what you've seen in SuperCoach this year is you've got to get that alpha attacker. And Hudson Young is the pick of that bunch as well. You've got Preston and Kickout can both get the ball, and depends on who's dominating, which side's dominating. But Hudson Young is always just going to dominate. That's why I think Dylan Lucas now with the injuries that Knights have, we said in the preseason there's so many chefs in the kitchen at Knights. Who's going to get the attack? I think there's 2 guys out now that they're going to look to Lucas a lot more near that line. So I think look for the alpha dogs in the team, and I like that pick, Hudson Young.
Hill and Lukey, not too much to throw in. We've already spoken about him when Matt spoke about Cooper Bye. Just to say that he got 80 minutes to get in round 2. I thought he had one of the poorer games I've seen him play at the NRL level in the first 40 minutes, and still scored well from a Supercoach perspective. So that was great. The last one's Leka Halasima, who Tubes and I had a big chat about on the Sunday Snap with that 80-minute roll and Kurt Capewell having the injured calf. It actually now, according to a Warriors injury report, looks like Capewell could be back as early as round 6. So just be mindful of that when you're making those decisions around a mid-ranger like Leka Halasima. Fellas, let's jump down to halfback. And a couple of really well-owned halfbacks haven't been performing as their owners would have liked. We've got Mitch Moses and Sam Walker. Mitch Moses, who had 2 try assists and 20 points in goals for only a 65 in round 2. Not what you would have hoped for if you're an owner with those kind of figures, although he does play the Dragons this week. And then Sam Walker, kind of the opposite to Mitch. He's averaging 53. He's had no tries or assists across the first 2 rounds, but he has a big break even of 110. Matt, what are you thinking with Mitch and Sam? If you're an owner, would you sell or would you hold?
Definitely selling Mitch, 1,000%. Just not good enough in the position. Sam Walker is trickier. I listened to you guys on the Snap talk about you guys held a couple of years ago until you didn't hold and you busted out the 150 or 160, whatever it was on Anzac Day. Mm-hmm. I feel like that is something that's just going to happen again. Like you're going to hold, and I just don't know if it'll come, the big one, the big score. It might, don't get me wrong, but I think there are only 3 halves that you can own, and then the cheapies if you're holding on to them. But yeah, I don't think those 2 are either of them. I would be doing everything in my power if I own those 2 to make them Nathan Cleary this week or next.
Dan, you're really interested in Nathan Cleary soon, aren't you?
Yeah, definitely. Like it's just looking so good for him. So much dominance, and as kind of most people predicted, Panthers are going to bounce back. They're holding teams to very low points. They're getting, scoring plenty. So he's the orchestrator. You want him in, and you went for the risk. I actually feel a bit sad for Sammy Walker owners. I think he's done really well to base plus power, nearly 50 without any attacking stats, and they definitely will come. It's just the timing of it. They've got Panthers this week, and it's such a big week for SuperCoach. You could stick fat, but just there's so much on offer, and now everyone's got all this cash. Why wouldn't you just top up to the Lamborghinis and the Ferraris at the halfback position?
All right, I want to use the baller player comparison tool again to look at a couple of those cheaper ones. If there is anyone holding Mitch Moses or Sam Walker as their number 2 halfback, I want to hear your thoughts, guys. After 2 weeks of data now on Ethan Sanders and Daniel Atkinson, who would you go to? So looking at those 2 head-to-head, the Raiders got absolutely bashed in New Zealand. He's not usually going to only get 4 points a game from goal kicking, but Ethan Sanders, 2 tough games. He's got the Dogs and the Sharks in his next 2 games, and then the Storm a couple of weeks after that, versus Daniel Atkinson, who had a massive improvement in round 2. He actually plays the Eels, Titans, Cowboys, and Sea Eagles in the next 4 games. Matt, if you didn't own either because you ran a more expensive halfback strat, who would you look to downgrade to this week?
I wouldn't be downgrading to either of them. There's no way I would possibly buy either of them this week.
Interesting. So what are you doing?
I own Hines and Dewey, and obviously those 2 have worked out well. So even though Hines had a down game on the weekend versus the Panthers, they're playing the Dolphins this week, so definitely not selling him. I wouldn't, even if I had Walker or Moses, I'd be going up, not down. These guys, as we've seen in both, they've basically had alternate games. It's one big up game and one big down game to different levels. But they're just not going to be fast cash, and I just think you're getting left behind. Like, I just think you have to own 2 of Hines, Dewey, and Cleary. That's it. And if you don't own them, these cheapies already. If you do own Sanders and Atkinson, then you hold. Obviously, you just ride that out. And if you've got Dewey, that's fine. If you've got Hines, you turn him into Cleary next week. And if you've got Cleary, then great. But yeah, I would be not advocating whatsoever. If you force my hand to say who am I bringing in, it would be probably Atkinson. He's got the extra week of making more money, given his score came in the round 2 and the Dragons' good run. I am liking what I'm seeing from Atkinson. I just think you're just going to get. It's just going to be. You can't play him. It's too volatile to play him in your 18.
Interested, Matt, because you said there's only three halfbacks you'd want to own. So I'm now assuming from your next comment that is Adam Dewey, Nico Hines, Nathan Cleary. I'm going to chuck in a fourth, Jaden Campbell, named in the extended bench for the Titans. Obviously, you don't want to own him this week, but he's one that I'll be looking at.
Down the track for sure. Sorry, I'm talking short term. You're
talking this week. Dan, are you as firm on that? Absolutely no way would you downgrade to one of those cheap guys, or do you think it's still viable?
No, 100%. There's all these other cheap options who are matching some of the elite premiums in, say, second row forward, front row forward. Like, that's where you want to get that cheap and the fast cash. And the way we've seen the first 2 rounds, I think you want to get up to 2 premiums in the halfback position as quickly as possible. So I want 3 massive premiums in the fullback and possibly a third fullback in the flex, or if not, like an ultra premium, even halfback might go 3, might get Dewey and Cleary on top of my Hines already. But yeah, I would not go there because I think it's a bit of a waste of a trade, and there's so much other cheapies around. You've just taken up a slot that has the biggest ceiling in your whole squad. So I would be going up from those mid-range halfbacks.
I just realised maybe you're a bit surprised, Jono, that we didn't bring this up at the start in the blueprint about do we need the cheapies? And we said no, but we didn't mention that you don't need Sanders and Atkinson.
To be fair, there's so much focus on second row forward cheapies this week that I can't blame you. I think most people have kind of made their bed and their line in it now with whoever they took, except for me last week, who traded from one to the other and now regrets wasting a trade in such a way. But that's right.
Just on Sanders, Jono, it's worth noting he got a very, very, very dicey try assist on the weekend. And if he didn't get it...
That was not dicey.
It was.
What was dicey about it?
I just don't think he did anything that deserved a try. He passed the ball. Like, there was no, like, if it's a last pass, I'll leave the try assist analysis to the spy, but I thought it was quite dicey watching on my mobile phone from the Baller Lawn Bowls event that I was at.
You're not an owner of Sanders, are you, Matty?
I'm not. Correct. So
couldn't guess.
Put that prism, put that lens on it as well. But he would have scored like a 14 or something without that try assist. And that, so if they've got pumped by 40, you are going to get a low score from Sanders. Just what we've said all along. Sanders and Atkinson are very tough plays in your 18 week to week.
Yeah, woulda, coulda, shoulda. He got it. But yes. All right. Matt, we spoke about Adam Dewey. I just want to congratulate you. I'm not going to give you any scope to talk about it. I'm going to move on quickly. But I just want to say congrats on Adam Dewey. You had the patience to hold him till week 2. And I imagine that Adam Dewey was absolutely everything you could have asked for. He looked fantastic, and the Tigers looked very friendly for SuperCoach. So well done, Matt.
More to come, Jono. I thought he actually had a quiet game away from, I thought he could. Jerome Luai was the master there. I thought Dewey could have done a bit more, to be honest, and I think there's more to come, so I'm very happy.
Is that a concern for you, how dominant Luai was? I didn't actually watch the game, but I saw the highlights, and Luai was in everything. So, but
mate, it's the Tigers.
If Dewey's sitting back and getting 114, watch out. It's a great pickup.
When he needs to step up, he will.
He did get that try he scored was the softest try I've seen in a long, long time.
It was so soft, so soft.
I would just say, Dan, interestingly, I did look up the touches because I thought that watching live that Luai looked more dominant. Looking at NRL to look at the touches and the receipts, it was about 3 different. And Luai did have the edge on it, which I think if you're a Dewey owner, you'd rather it the other way. But it wasn't like you see in some teams where one guy completely dominates the control. It was pretty evenly shared. Last one, Dan.
Wait, sorry. Look, just to round that out, look, Luai noted downhill skier. And that they were going downhill fast in that game. So Luai, give me the ball, Jerome.
Yeah. Well, it's a bit like you look at touches and look at it as a whole, but it's a bit like what I was going to talk about with Harry Grant and Blake Brayley, in terms of the total runs. It's where you do those runs and where you get those touches. So as Matt said, Luai's going to get it a lot in the attacking half when they're having a very, very easy game. Harry Grant gets the ball near the line a lot more and runs a lot more near the line, where Brayley runs through the middle of the park to get the momentum. So you've got to, that's the where you've got to get the eye test and actually watch one of the games. But yeah, Dewey, I think, is a great purchase. Goal kicking, Tigers are looking strong. So yeah, well done.
Dan, you're one of the biggest Tanner Boyd, I won't say hater, too strong, dislikers that I know. Dana Boyd, I might call you. He has a break-even of -41. He's being talked about in some circles. I think he's about 3% traded in so far. Can you just give us a firm opinion on Tanner Boyd?
Yeah, look, maybe I was wrong. Maybe Tanner Boyd is the real deal. You know, looks like he's grown a little.
I didn't realise we were a draft podcast now.
What do you mean?
When did that happen?
Yeah, no.
Why are we talking about Tanner Boyd?
Mate, because he's got a -41 break even, and there's people bringing him in.
Luke Metcalf's back in a few weeks. What are they going to do then?
Look, we're talking about it, Matt, so that we can take it off people's plate.
Yeah,
I think is why we're talking about it.
Okay,
so
good.
yeah, look, yeah, at 570k, I think he'd be very relevant if he was 300k, but he's basically in a premium to mid-premium price range. And yeah, he's going to make a bit of fast cash, but you know, Braden Trindle was going to make a bit of fast cash after round one, and he's gone out and got a 20. So I don't look. Warriors have had 2 home games; they've scored well in both. I don't see that continuing when they go away from home. So yeah, you can't pick him up at 570k.
Right, let's move down to 5'8", and Jonah Pezzett. -25 break even, 3 assists and a try on the weekend. I thought Tubes made a pretty good point about how with all those attacking stats, you would have liked to have seen Jonah get an even bigger score. But at the end of the day, that's the score he got. Big minus break even, so he's going to be in your team for a few more weeks now. And it's not like the other 5'8s are absolutely jumping off the page to trade him to. So I think well done to the people who were patient with Jonah. Cody Walker, I am an owner. You two aren't. He obviously had a really down game against the Roosters, both in his SuperCoach output and in his real-life eye test form. I thought was not good. He got frustrated and didn't recover. The thing I'm still interested in is he's 400k. It's kind of a now or never scenario for me. Like if he comes, that's if he gets a good score this week. I guess your future planning. They play the Tigers. If he was to come out and get 80 this week, I think you just have to accept that Cody's probably gone from your plans for the rest of the year. Is that fair to say, Matt?
I don't think so. I think he's
Would
going
you
to be
buy him at 500k?
Maybe. I had a good chat to the Podfather about Cody Walker on Saturday. He was very disappointed with Cody's attitude on Friday night. Gave away some ridiculous penalties.
Has Cody received that feedback?
No, I don't know directly, but
Okay.
Obviously, Jono, as we established last year, the Ricks family has deep roots in South Sydney Rabbitohs history, so I wouldn't be surprised. But I do have some talking points just on general NRL. I should have talked about it at the top of the podcast. Anyway, Cody Walker, look, I've liked what I've seen in terms of the role for Cody. Now, Jamie Humphrey's back this week. I want to get another look, just see what happens there. I would not be buying Cody this week, personally, and I'm just not interested. I think that Cody, there are some scenarios with the role that he might have in this Rabbitohs team that he could be a very viable long-term 5'8" option. 5'8" maybe not if Fletcher comes good, but if Fletcher, if for whatever reason Sharp doesn't turn out to be the man or he gets injured again or whatever, then Cody could be viable this year. I think the role's there. He's playing both sides of the ruck. He's trying his guts out. It wouldn't be surprised if this is Cody's last year. So I think he's going to try and leave it all out there. And yeah, I think he's going to be relevant for a fair bit of the season.
Fletcher Sharp, Dan, as our resident physio, I listened to the Magic Sponge podcast. He was very worried about the potential output for Fletcher Sharp. He did, to give him his due. He said that it does depend on the severity of the injury, which hasn't really come out from the club. I had Fletcher Sharp in my team this week as a Kayln Ponga replacement in the flex until I listened to the Magic Sponge. And Dan, until I was texting you this morning telling you my plans and you had a bit of feedback. So can you give that to the listeners for us?
Yeah, I'm very concerned about bringing Fletcher Sharp in. I wouldn't be touching him this week. I know you were looking to bring him in, and possibly still are. The worry is if he hasn't done a rupture on his PCL, then the PCL is still attached and it's still healing. And anyone that watched the Vegas game saw how much pain Fletcher Sharp was in. Right, he could hardly put the pressure on it. So if he tweaks it again, and he's got that, sometimes an injury, the severity of the injury doesn't correlate with the pain that someone's in. So even if he tweaks it slightly, he could be in a lot of pain. He can't run. He's coming off the field again. So I just think there's too much volatility in that, and I think it is a deterrence for me that Ponga and Dylan Brown are both out this week as well. I think that's not good for Sharp, even though he's going to get a bit more ball. I still don't like it as an attacking perspective for the Knights. So definitely stay clear of him this week as a pickup. Well done to anyone who held him and played Pez last week instead. They've done really well. Yeah. And that's fine to play him because you don't have to make a trade. And there's a potential he does do absolutely fine. You just don't get the medical information off nights to be able to tell what it's at the moment, and he could still do really well. But I think as a bring-in, there's just too much risk.
I'm going to be watching so closely this weekend because looking at that Knights draw, they don't play past 4 p.m. until round 11. It's this huge run of day games, and we know the kind of player that Fletcher Sharp is. He's explosive, and the day games really suit him. I'm still scarred from watching him towel up the Rabbitohs at Magic Round last year in a day game where he just was completely unstoppable. So I'm going to be watching very, very closely. But, yeah, I do have, as a similar example, I believe Reece Walsh had the PCL injury last year, and we did see, for an explosive player, how much that impacted his output. Matt, any closing thoughts on Fletch?
Oh, no, only just your comment about all these day games they've got coming up. I'm just picturing all the Kayln Ponga owners as the narcos, what's his name? The drug lord from Colombia. Pablo Escobar, just on the swing outside, just.
Well, he's two of you. You're talking to two of them.
I know.
Me and Dan both own Kayln.
You were rubbing it into yourself, but yeah, that really hurts for Kayln.
It does hurt.
Yeah, Fletcher. I'm right in the same boat. I'm looking forward to owning him at some point, but not yet.
Let's get down to centre wing now. And Tom Chester's just the first one I want to talk about. Really good news for his owners, which is a lot of us. He has retained his spot even with Zach Labour returning on the extended from his suspension. On the surface, Matt, seems like a big win, but you've got a bit of extra info for us.
Yeah, so there's a press conference, not a press conference, a club video that the Cows put out about the team list this week where Peyton mentions that they've got a few little niggles, the Cows, and that Labour could come into the starting team, but if not, he will be on the six-man bench. Now, to me, that doesn't explicitly say that he's going to come in for Chester. So I would say unless Chester's one of those injured guys, then his starting spot is safe. I think Chester's looked great in the two games. His ball running is very, very strong. So I'd be shocked if he's the one who misses out for Labour in the starting team this week. In saying that, that probably just does put the slows a little bit if you don't own him, if you're one of the 43% of Supercoaches who don't own. But for owners, I think that, as long as he holds that spot, I think he could probably turn out to be the best centre wing cheapie of the class. And it's obviously a really hot class. He had 70 odd on the weekend with a try, 62 or 3 the week before with no try. I just can, I can really see him averaging in that 60s range and being a sort of a lower, premium, lower upside centre wing.
All right, Dan, any thoughts on Tommy Chester? You've been playing in the last couple of weeks. Are you confident he's a play this week with a good matchup?
Oh, yeah, against the Titans. He's straight in, hasn't left my side. He looks great. I think he's definitely an athlete. They got some great young athletes coming through the Cowboys. I don't think that niggling chat is related to him. I know that Murray Taulagi is carrying an injury. We know Brayden Burns is a walking injury, basically. And then Scotty Drinkwater, we know he's definitely injured with those ribs as well. So there's so much other niggling injuries around. I think Chester's pretty much guaranteed. And he looks a great play. The base plus power is exactly what we want to see for a centre wing. So lock and load.
Would you buy him, Dan, if you didn't own?
Ooh, I think so. I think if I had the other guys, like the priority cheapies at the moment, I think, are those second row forwards who can play in your 17 and 18. I'd be buying them first. But yeah, Tom Chester, definitely a buy if you're looking for someone in the centre wing.
All right. The one I just wanted to put on people's radar was Luke Lilly from the West Tigers, who had a big score in the 90s last week. Obviously, he's only played the one game. It was 94 he had in round 2. I just think he's one to watch this weekend. He had originally won that spot over Skelton, Matt's man from last year. We've got Stafford Toa and Taylor May both out injured for at least another 4 weeks or so. He's going to be on the bubble coming into round 4. So just wanted to put on people's radar. If we have one of these cheapies underperform this week in the centre wing spot and he comes out and gets another massive score, he could be a good one to bring into our teams. And he's obviously a really well-regarded player. He's signed with the Bears as well for next year. Danny Boy, any thoughts on Leo Lilly?
My thoughts, not on Leo Lilly specifically, but just don't overinvest in the Tigers at this stage. They played one good game. I'd still like to get a look at all of them. Obviously, Leo Lilly, you've got another week for the bubble. But I wouldn't be bringing in 3 or 4 Tigers at the moment. I think that would be crazy, just knowing what has happened in the past with them. They can very easily go backwards very quickly.
All right, let's use our ball up player comparison tool to look at 2 of the underperforming centre wing players who people have on the chopping block this week. It's Big Mark Nwangani Tuase, and your man from the Sharks, boys, KL Iro. So they both have massive break-evens. They're both really well-owned players. So KL Iro is in 13% of teams. Marky Mark is in 11%. Mark's got a break-even of 114. KL 123. Dan, from your perspective, are these 2 guys that you would look at selling this week, downgrading to someone like a Latrell Mitchell, who is a big negative or a 0 break-even and looks set to explode? Would you look to trade those guys or would you stay patient?
It depends on my team structure. So if I had 3 premiums in the centre wing, I would probably look to downgrade one of them to the cheapies that are going to make cash. You still want to have at least a couple of premiums there firing. I wouldn't go all out cheapies in the centre wing and just have maybe 1 premium. I think you're doing a disservice to your team there. I've got KL Iro. I'm holding. I haven't looked to trade him out at this stage. I think I said something during the game in the Panthers. I might be trading him out, but that was very short-lived. He is just, he's an end game player in your centre wing, and they've got some great matchups coming up. He's going to be there over the origin period. I wouldn't look to trade him out. Marky Mark's slightly different because we know that he can go on absolutely hot tears, but he can also get out of games. They've got Panthers this week. If he has another lowly score, he's then bleeding cash at over 700K. I could see you swing him to a Latrell Mitchell. And also Roosters have a bye coming up soon. So it's, losing cash, bye coming up. I could move him on a bit quicker than I would KL Iro.
Matt, what about Latrell Mitchell? I know you're a non-owner. I mentioned has that break-even of 0. He's currently 626K. The thing that jumps out to me with Trell, and I said this on the Sunday Snap as well, I don't even think he's played a good NRL game so far this year, yet he's still coming through with scores of 114 and then 88. I just wonder if this week, if he does have a big game, let's say he gets another 80 to 90, you're going to blink and he's going to be over 700K. Obviously, the tricky part is Rabbitohs have a round 4 bye, and you don't want to bring in a premium player 1 week before they're on the bye. But is there a case to buy Latrell just to avoid that price rise, Matt?
It would have to be a very team-specific thing. Like, I wouldn't be moving any of my cheapies up to him. And so I'd really need to have a very specific player to sell to him. So I'm going to say no, because the buy next week supersedes the 70K that you're going to save and 2 weeks worth of info that you're going to get by not making that trade. So I think the time we want to see you'd be wanting to look for Latrell might be round 6, because they got the Dogs in round 5 as well, which is obviously a really tough matchup. So you get in for a week now, and then you got bye Dogs. So that just doesn't really interest me as a purchase for this week. I'd rather just get another just get down the line a bit. By that time as well, we're going to have some of these cheapies starting to top out in price. So it could be as simple as a 200K upgrade from a Tommy Chester to Latrell, and that's happy days.
Matt, I'm going to stick with you. Val Holmes, you wanted him on the run sheet. You were impressed on the weekend.
No, yeah, I thought he had a good game. He much better than Vegas. I'm more interested in the Dragons' draw than I am in Val in general. He has the best draw coming up, so they have the Cowboys, the Seagulls, the Rabbitohs, then the. Oh no, sorry, I've gone too far. I've missed it.
It's
couple of rounds.
Eels, Titans, Cowboys, Seagulls, Rabbitohs.
Yeah, thank you. So 4 really good games. I think if you're looking for that upgrade in centre wing this week, he is where I would go as a pod play. Just with that draw, I'm just all about the fixture runs for these guys this year. In saying that, I'm just a little worried still about the Dragons as an attacking unit. And are they going to get? They should have won that game on the weekend against the Storm. I know they lose by 24 or something in the end, but they had them on toast. And then Cookie puts out in the full. This is what I was going to touch on, Jono. Sorry, I've just got to get up on the soapbox at the moment. There are things you cannot do at the moment in the NRL. It just kills you with the amount of set restarts and momentum swings that we're seeing. You cannot kick it out on the full like that when you're up by 2 points from your own half. You cannot put pressure on teams like Canberra did and then have KO Weeks kick it dead, giving the Warriors a 7 tackle set, and then they go down the other end and score. These things are just absolute killers for your teams. Just don't do these stupid things, teams. I just can't stress it enough that these mistakes are amplified so much at the moment. I just wanted to get that off my chest. Cookie, obviously good friend of the pod, and not his fault entirely they lost that game. He obviously went on to get a concussion, and hope you're feeling all right, Cookie. Who am I talking about? Val
Holmes, mate.
Good pod pick this week. Not convinced I think he's fit. That was the one thing I wanted to see. He'd be the upgrade I'd be looking for if I'm going at centre wing.
All right, Dan, I'm going to give you 2 players to talk about. Let's see if you can beat Matt's speed on one. So I want you to discuss Herbie Farnworth and Jacob Kiraz, who, for me so far this year, and Matt, again, another good props to you. Great call on the Jacob Kiraz pickup because he was fantastic in Vegas. But these two, Dan, are they just far and away the 2 most must-have centre wings? Like, do we need to be making plans right now to get them into our team ASAP?
Look, as soon as you see either of them touch the ball, you're basically just putting 6 points down for your team. Like, it's ridiculous. Like, they both look to offload at will. They can just break tackles. They're holding blokes off, 2 blokes off at a time with just one arm. And so just their base plus power is just incredible. Herbie on the weekend did nothing. Dolphins were terrible in attack trying to feed him the ball, and they just never really put him in position. They went to Selwyn Cobbo a couple of times, and we know how that worked out. He got held up and put over the line, and just give Herbie the ball near the line, they're going to score. But their base plus power is just incredible. I want both of those 2 ASAP. I have Herbie. I'll be trying to get Kiraz. He'll be probably my first upgrade, if not Val Holmes, because of that run. But yeah, it looks very good, both of them.
Let's jump down to our final position for the analysis, which is fullback, and we have to start with Sua Fa'alogo. Massive minus 110 break even. He's been in tremendous form, 3 tries on the weekend. I think we don't even need to waste time talking about this particular part. If you own Ponga or Drinky and you don't have Sua, that's the easiest trade in the world. You've got yourself an out there. What I want to hear from you, Matt, is would you do it for Keano Kinney? Keano Kinney, who's base plus pairing his way to 43.5 points a game, averaging touch under 60, looked a little bit hurt for the last 20 minutes of that game, was hobbling around. Would you make that move that's, sideways from a price perspective to get Sua in?
It's such a hard one because I'm an owner. So I want to say no, that you wouldn't do it. And I want to say no, that also he's the only option for Drinky or Ponga, because I think Walsh is more important to own than Sua in the coming month. So I don't think it is as straightforward as you just go to Sua. The problem with Sua is that he's so highly owned. He's going to make such good money now that if you don't own him and he has another one of these games, then you get a bit left behind. But I honestly think there's a play to skip him. And again, it's easy for me to say that as an owner. So I don't know that I would definitely be saying that as a non-owner. But I think probably yes, you want to get him. That'll give you a feeling of safety that you probably need for your mental health. But I think there's worlds where you don't need him. He could easily average 60 over the next month, and he'll still make some money. But at what cost in terms of opportunity when you could have got Walsh?
Dan, what are your thoughts?
I'll throw it back to Matt. If you're not willing to risk not having Helam Lukey in your side because of other people having him, how would you not? Like if you didn't own Sua Fa'alogo.
That's one of the reasons about Helam Lukey.
Yeah, ridiculous. Like bring in Sua Fa'alogo just for the pure pleasure of watching that bloke play.
He's good.
Like it was unbelievable on the weekend. Like you don't play SuperCoach because we're making money out of it, because we're not winning it. We play because we want to watch some of this stuff and see the highlights. And Sua Fa'alogo is just a highlight machine. So bring him in your side, enjoy, and don't look back.
Reece Walsh, you mentioned him, Matty. Big news is that Adam Reynolds, despite being named in the team list at 4 p.m. today, he's out this weekend. Matt, we were looking before the show at how much that baller projection changed for Reece Walsh the second that Reynolds was out, both because A, he gets the goal kicking, B, it's a better role for Reece Walsh. So you are saying that he's now a buy for this week, even with the break even at 130. You think he could get close to that, match it, or even beat it?
Yeah, and the Storm, they're playing the Storm away. Like, this is Reece ball. We're back in Reece ball. This is where he comes and plays halfback with Reynolds out. I would love to own Walsh this week. I'm not going to, because I think Kinney, I'm going to give Kinney the week. It's just too important trading week away from that, and Kinney's got the Cowboys, so it's a huge game for him. His career at the Terrace Crew is on the line this week, and he's been told in no uncertain terms. But yeah, Walsh got 99 on the weekend. I think there's a chance in the next month that if these rules keep up the way they're going, if Brisbane find any ounce of form, Walsh could get a 200 in the next month.
You can't get him this week. You can't get him this week though. What did he average? 140 or something back end of last season, and that was with a 26 against the Storm at Amy Park. Like, I think they can shut him out as well. Like, just the form of the Storm.
They definitely could.
I don't. And if he gets shut out this week, he's $100K cheaper, and you pick him up for the hot run from round 4. Like, you've got to death ride him this week. I think
that's a sensible play. I'm saying there is a play to get him this week, though. It's definitely sensible. Every SuperCoach sort of thing that you would learn on the internet would tell you to not get him this week with the high break even and the tough matchup. But sometimes you've just got to be brave and do it. It really depends who you're selling to him. Like Ponga or Drinky, I think if you've got, put it this way, there are people out there who will own one of Ponga and Drinky and already own Sua. Probably own Sua and Kinney.
That's me.
So that's you?
Yep.
So you're not going to get Walsh this week?
No.
Okay. I would do that if I were you.
I'm exactly the same as Dan. Same fullbacks. I'm not getting Walsh this week. I'm actually making the call, Matt, of holding Ponga for a week just to assess the landscape, because I'm also looking at Tommy Turbo as an option as well. So I feel comfortable playing Chester, and I want to make a decision between Tommy Turbo and Reece Walsh in round 4, which if I get Reece this week, takes away my flexibility a little bit in that regard. So I'm the same as Dan. I'm just going to watch it for this week.
It's a very patient strategy, Jono.
I'm a patient man. I've learned that doing the pod with you, Matty. I've had to pick up a bit of patience when those rants are on. All right, fellas, let's get to our last segment of the show. This is our captaincy chat and sit starts, brought to you by the Baller Team Builder feature. If you haven't done it yet, get in there, select your players, and you will get the most accurate projected scores in all of SuperCoach. Matt and Dan, I want to hear your thoughts, first of all, on the captaincy and vice-captaincy options, both within your team, but also looking at a wider scope of who you think the ballers listening should be looking at putting it on this week. Dan, let's start with you. First of all, what are you doing in your team?
I am going fullback VC in Sua Fa'alogo. I just want to get on the party as while it's hot. And I've currently got the captaincy on Nicho Hynes. I think they're going to have a huge bounce back against the Dolphins. You've got to look for these high upside, high ceiling fullbacks and halfbacks. And there's plenty of options this week as well. Like, it's not super clear cut. I think Nathan Cleary is a fine VC up against the Roosters, the way he's looking. Even Harry Grant to a degree, but yeah, probably sticking with a halfback and fullback for your captains this week, whichever way you've got.
Matt, what are you looking at?
I'm reluctantly have the VC on Sua Fa'alogo. Just seeing a ceiling like 155 just helps that. We were chatting in the Discord last week that Sua's probably only a VC option at home to one of those sort of bottom 4 or 5 teams. But I think now Brisbane, obviously the place they're in, I think home games for Melbourne, Sua can go large. So reluctantly, I wish there was a better option because I feel like he'll be over vice captained. But yeah, Nico clear captain for me this week. Highest baller projection of 86. We saw what he can do in these easier games at home. The Finns certainly not looking like a defensive juggernaut. Away from those two, I would be looking at Captain Cleary if I owned or was bringing him in. And I think Walsh is the best VC this week. So if I own Walsh, I would definitely be vice captain in him in that Friday night game against the Storm.
I have Cleary, and he's going to be my vice captain this week in the 6 o'clock game on Friday. I would love to. I just can't then put the C on Sua. Like if Cleary doesn't go well, it just doesn't feel right then to have.
He's not a C.
Sua's
not a C option.
No, he's a VC. So I'm actually not sure yet who I want to put the captaincy on. Maybe if I listen back to this pod tomorrow and Matt's big Reece Walsh case sways me, maybe to be Reece in my team for Ponga and Reece with the captaincy. We'll have to see. Last one I want to talk about again, using the Baller team builder and looking at those projections with our team balances. I'm interested to hear from you guys of these cheaper guys, our centre wings and our second row forwards. Who are the ones who you are most willing to play in your team this week? Matt, you can take the new ball this time.
So Sid starts. So yeah, with is this segment brought to you by the team builder feature at baller.live, Jono? Is this part of that too?
Yes, I did say that.
Fantastic. So I just want to reinforce how useful that is for Sid starts because I use that all the time when I'm looking at the Sid starts. Sid starts is predominantly about their projected score, but then also where the game sits in the round. So just being able to use that as a guide, that's the only way to do Sid starts, in my opinion.
Mm-hmm.
I'm looking at playing Chester. The Labert news isn't going to scare me off there. If he gets demoted to the bench, that's so be it. I think that's pretty low risk. Faimani in the same game. The hardest one for me there is Faimani versus Moses Leo. We saw Moses Leo last week was on 9 after, 77 minutes or something, and he scored that amazing try with 3 seconds to go to get himself up to 48.
One of the best junk tries ever.
Sneaky little shepherd
I wouldn't call it amazing try. I'd call it the Dragons basically walking off the field as he goes under the box, to be honest.
So, yeah, I mean, what would the narrative be around Leo if he had dropped a 10 or 11? Like, that would be very interesting around selling him this week. So his floor scares me, but his upside also equally scares me in a dominant Melbourne outfit. You know, they're heavy favourites at home to Brisbane. So, yeah, I think I'll probably play Leo over Faimani, just even talking through right now. So I wouldn't play Rauchi. I'm not ready to play Rauchi yet. Definitely playing Lasardi. Yeah, that's probably where my definitely not playing Sedu 2. Sedu 2 is not to be played. Break class in case of emergency. Floor's too low, even on good matchups. I think the other guys have shown enough that they're a better play than Sedu 2.
Dan, any difference of opinions there with your sit starts?
Yeah, look, I haven't touched Leo. I think it's too volatile. Like he did get a 90, I think, with 2 attacking stats in there, and he had some great base that game, but we saw it from the small sample size last year. He had a 6 base last year, and then he was going to go for an under 10 score before he got that try. So, yeah, I just don't think you can play him. I don't think we've seen the upside completely of Faimani as well. Like, he jags a double.
Yeah, I agree.
He barrels over a couple of guys. Greg Marju-esque. I think he's at least got a potential ceiling of 100 plus if he gets 1 or 2 tries. So I'll probably be looking to play him this week. I'm not sure on him over Makasini though. Obviously base plus power at Makasini was very good. Didn't get any attack. I think he'll be very secure. But at the moment with the teams and how they're looking, you've got to make a decision on these guys. I know looking at my team builder on Baller, they've all got very similar projected prices. Projected scores. So it is a little bit of pot luck in that respect.
It is. It's very highly. There's a lot of high variance that comes into it on a week-to-week basis.
All right, fellas, I think that brings us out to a bit of a close tonight. That's an in-depth look at the most important trade week of the year, and hopefully that's a lot of help there for our baller community. As always, if you are enjoying what we're doing, or even if you're not, can you get out there, give us a like, give us some comments, subscribe to everything we do on the socials. You can search Baller NRL and Baller SuperCoach. We appreciate every single one of those that comes through. And if you want to be a part of the conversation with us, you can chat to all 3 of us in the Ballers Only Discord. Head over to baller.live/Discord. and join the conversation. Tubes and I will be back on Sunday to review the round 3 games, and we're always sourcing our rage trades and ready to explode players through that Ballers Only Discord. Dan, Matt, look, I got to say, we were referencing DX at the top of the pod. Dan, as the episode went on, I kind of felt like you and me became DX and Matt was the Rock and he was our biggest rival because we were tag teaming up on him a little bit there. I don't think I can quite give us HBK and Triple H. Maybe we were more X-Pac and China. The listeners can decide. The listeners can decide who's who there. But Matt, your form has started hot again. That's the worst people's eyebrow ever. But Matt, I gave it to you tonight, and I appreciate you being such a great sport. And I genuinely, unfortunately, do appreciate your Supercoach expertise. And, man, I'm firming on Reece Walsh coming in hungry for more. Just the more that sat with me, I can do it.
Reece.
I can do it. So, Matt, thank you for jumping on tonight. And, mate, looking forward to chatting to you soon.
Thanks, John. I appreciate it, mate.
Danny boy, always a pleasure. I'll be seeing you next Tuesday. And can you take us home?
Oh, I got a bit of the London throat this morning, Jono. So I don't know if I can quite get the.
Do you want me to do it for you this week?
Your beauty going. Yeah. Why don't you have a go? Doing the hosting, you might as well do everything.
Yo beauty.